Good.
Doing good.
You get a haircut since last time we saw you?
I'm sorry, Brooke.
You get a haircut since last time we saw you?
No, I got the haircut before the
You
game.
just wore the hat. Okay.
I had the hat on. You know, I mean, now the thing is, this haircut was probably as short. I don't think it had nothing to do with the game, but it was the shortest my hair has ever been since I can remember. So.
David, what are the advantages of having 10 days now to prepare with Davis going into his second NFL start?
Well, the big thing, more so not from him, is just for our football team, is just the extra rest. We've had some nicks, we've had some injuries. It gives us a little bit more time to make sure we get those guys back that have been out this week. We won't know for sure yet what the status is until we come back on Monday. But I think with him, just him going and watching a full game of him playing, especially against a very good football team, the stuff that he will learn from seeing what he did, and I know there's a few plays in the game when he goes back and he watched the video, he'll sit here and say, man, I had this, I had that, I should have did this. Well, that's part of the growing process that he's had. But the beauty of that entire thing with him growing, it's easier to grow when you protect the football from a quarterback position, and he did that for us.
I know you said you really won't know until Monday, but do you have any kind of observations right now about Justin and Kenu in terms of being available next week?
No, not right. It's a little early.
What about Kaimi?
Same thing on him. The thing is about him is that he said this past week that he was much better than he's ever been. He didn't really feel anything. So we're just going to see when we go back out on Wednesday to see where he's at. Not Monday, but on Wednesday to see where he's at. And if he's ready to go, we'll go with him.
What do you think the key to getting your running game back on track will be going forward?
Kristen, when we looked at the video, basically we were the enemy and not them. In other words, we did not execute some things that we had been executing previously. We got to make some calls that we didn't get made during that ball game that put us in some situations where it put us behind the chains where we hadn't been doing that. And basically, we just got to go back and correct those mistakes and I feel like we'll be back on track because we made a few more this game than we had in the previous two.
David, when you look at the running game, so you guys have spent more time on this, but why do you think it's been such tough sledding for you guys so far, especially after the first game?
Well, I think when Tyrod went out and Davis came in, things changed a little bit with what we were doing because of Davis, not having reps and whatnot. And then going into this ball game, obviously, with Davis being his first game getting a full-time start, is that we wanted to make sure that, we kind of kept it to the vest in what we were doing for him. And then and I think what we end up doing is that we got to the point to where that we probably felt like we, kind of went too far with trying to protect him and just kind of doing what we feel like we need to do. But I think what we did find out coming out of this game is that he can handle a lot more than what we felt like because of the way he handled himself in this ball game. And moving forward, we'll just get back to doing the things that we had started doing for those first game and a half when Tyrod was our starting quarterback.
Can you talk about the importance of, you talked a lot about how he didn't have any turnovers, protecting the ball, how that goes into the way you call the game in terms of, decisions, short distance, and any of that?
Well, when we started the game, it was important that we get him off to a good start, and he got off to a good start from that standpoint. And then once we got going, Tim just called the game as if we were calling the game if Tyrod was in there. And, we just did not run the ball as well as we needed to run the ball because of the mistakes that we made. And obviously that had a lot to do with the inconsistency in what we were doing offensively and not being able to do what we would have liked to have done with him in the passing game because a lot of our passing game comes off of what we do in our running game, and we weren't very, very good at doing that yesterday.
You guys were evenly split between run and pass on first and second down. Do you think, running more on not running so much on first down or passing more often on first down could maybe help keep the defense a little more off balance and open up some more holes for your running game?
Well, I think the thing is that when we stay with the change, we stay in first and second down in normal managed deals and third down in normal managed deals, then I think the run and pass thing is not irrelevant. What's irrelevant is that we got behind the chains. We had more second and longs than we've had before because we weren't able to get started off with the run game very well. And then when we were above the chains, then we ended up having some mistakes that put us back behind the chains. And we're not a football team that's can play from behind the chains. So we just got to make sure we stay above the chains when we're doing those things.
There was a moment in the game, I believe in the second quarter, it was like 3rd down and 15 or whatever, and you guys had decided to run the ball with David Johnson. What went into that decision, and why not pass it when you guys were that far back?
Well, long yardage. It's tough to get long yardage here. And again, I'm going back to, Davis, I didn't want him getting in a situation where he felt like he needed to make a play because it's 3rd and 15. And I know with young quarterbacks, a lot of times you think 3rd and 15. I got to throw the ball down the field to be able to get a first down. Well, you don't necessarily end up having to do that. And basically, you throw the ball for 5 yards and you run. If we don't get the first down, we don't get the first down, we punt it. But in that situation, we didn't want to put him in a situation where he felt like he needed to try to make a play on his own. And we felt like at that point, the way we were playing, and we were playing field position at that point, and we felt like we could get a good play and change field position with the punt.
What did you think about what Anthony Miller did in his first game for you guys?
Well, we knew he's a playmaker. He's a tough kid. Normally when you throw the ball to him, he's going to make a play. We were glad to see him actually get that touchdown. He did a nice job on that play on the route. It was just good to have him back because, he brings a little toughness to us. And kind of what we're all about, especially in our run game. He kind of brings that in our pass game, too, as a pass receiver, especially playing inside the slot,
David,
Do you expect Danny to be back?
Not really sure yet.
David, you mentioned a while ago, you said about the run game, you need to make some different calls. Were you talking about him at the quarterback in the line, your center, or calls coming from the sideline in terms of calls on?
No, just communication on the field when the play's been done. When they move around on defense, we make calls, and then he has to make a call, and basically we weren't always on the same page with doing that.
What went into the decision to activate all 5 of your running backs for this game?
Special teams.
As the running game's kind of struggling, any thought to?
No, that had nothing to do with it. It was strictly a special teams deal because of some other people we had hurt that had been special teams players for us, and Scotty has been one of those guys that during the preseason that did a good job on that, and because of the roster spots, it worked out that he was the best fit for us in moving up, but it had nothing to do with the running back.
How
Like
does
Scotty
that go
and-
with the fumbles by Andre Roberts the last couple of weeks on the punt return?
That's unlike him. He's never had a history of doing that. Obviously, that's not acceptable for us to do that, and he understands that. But as I said last night, I got the utmost confidence in him, and hopefully he comes out of that.
Scotty, at some point, would you like to get him in the game and see what he can do? Obviously, he's shown you guys some things in the preseason, but in a regular season mode, just as a change of pace.
You talking Scotty?
Scott.
No, we're basically it was strictly a situation where he came up simply because of what we needed special teams.
How did you come out of the game health-wise?
We came out of the game very good health-wise. Nobody came out of that game with an injury that would keep them from being able to play the following week.
When you're making decisions on 4th down, who are you consulting? Either on
I've got guys up in the press box that are we kind of talk it over and says, okay, we get in this situation, what we do, and then in the end, they give me suggestions of what to do, and then in the end, I kind of feel like I do what I feel like I need to do at that particular point. But we've got people up at the top that we communicate with.
Do you expect Deshaun to play for you guys this year?
It's week to week. Aaron?
Look at some of the things on defense. How tough is it to just create pressure primarily with the four-man front that you did last game?
Aaron, we did a good job of that last night, and I go back to what I said about obviously our defensive line has been playing very, very hard, and we play a bunch of guys in there. They put some pressure. As a matter of fact, they put so much pressure on him that we end up having a couple of fumble there last night they created that had we been able to get those, obviously we didn't have any turnovers, neither one of us did, but those could have been game changers, and it just didn't happen for us, and that's football. But I thought that basically defensively, though, the one thing that we didn't do in this ball game that we've got to do a better job of is that we got them in some 2nd and longs. We got them in a 3rd and long at one time where, they end up getting explosive plays off of those, and we can't have that. Their football team had about 8 explosive plays. We had 3, and that's tough sledding when that happens. All right, you're welcome.
Thank you, David.